The needs are enormous, and yeah, everything takes a long time, and the gap between what we could do and what we've accomplished, very frustrating. Yeah, so I don't know. I'm happy that we treated 100,000 kids, but I'm aware that there are millions of kids, and so I guess the thing to remember is that this is a marathon. It's not a 100-yard dash. It's not a good job for somebody who wants to be told they're a good person or to have like a great result soon. So I did judo as a boy. That was my sport. And I think one of the things about judo is you have to be good at being uncomfortable. So I think that this job is one where most of the time you're not getting where you want to go. You just have to be patient, and you have to be willing to just keep pushing. And if it was easy, somebody would have done it already. I think that's the other part of this, is that we've chosen very hard problems to solve, and as a consequence, we have to be patient. It's going to be very difficult. So I think as a young person, when I was going to the Peace Corps as a 25-year-old college graduate, I thought, I'm coming to help. I'm just going to help all these people. One of the first latrines we were building at a school, I asked the city public works department for plans of the school so that we could put the latrines in the right place. And when I got the plans, there was a latrine in the plans. I was like, why wasn't this ever built? And they're like, funny story. The money, once we built the school, we took the money for the latrine. Well, the mayor took some of the money to buy a moped and a little motorcycle, and the construction manager took some money and he bought a TV, and that money was spent other places, but we knew somebody like you would come and finish the job. And I was like, what? Am I just perpetuating a really bad system? Maybe I should leave tomorrow. It was very, very confusing. And there's this idea that in Africa, everybody's poor, everybody's sick, there's war everywhere. Where I lived, everybody was pretty happy. And they seemed to be enjoying their lives. And so figuring all that stuff out was really confusing. And so again, I think as a young person getting into this field, just recognizing that this is a long process. Unfortunately, there doesn't seem to be any kind of shortcut to sort of jumping to the end. I read a tremendous amount. I read hundreds of books, and yet, I'm still learning so many things the hard way. It's a good job. It's just not an easy job. So they talk about your work. There's 3 kinds of work. There's a job. I'm getting some money to just pay my bills. There's a career. I see steps in this process that get me from being a starting level to getting more responsibility, more pay, whatever. And then there's a calling. And a calling is something that's over the horizon. You're never going to get there. But it's the impossible dream. And so I feel lucky compared to many of my peers who've either gotten jobs or careers. I graduated from MIT. Many of my peers have sold companies, raised lots and lots of money. I guess that'd be great, but really, who has more than this? Who has more than what I have? The studio here gives me the ability to make anything. Anything. That seems like I'm kind of rich. It feels like I've got, what else could you want? When I was a kid, I wished that I was really good at soccer so that I could go anywhere in the world and impress people because I could play soccer, even though I didn't speak their language. Now, I've gotten to go to all these countries, and I'm a terrible tourist. I've been to Italy. I've never been to Rome. You know, I've been to Vietnam. I don't know. I think I've been to 40 countries through my job. I've seen a lot of hospitals, a lot of sick babies, but there's a hospital in northern Vietnam that I love. I absolutely love because the staff are amazing. It's a rural hospital. They can't be making very much money, but the doctors all grew up in that town. And after they got their medical degrees, they petitioned the government to be sent back to their village. They could have gone to the city, to Hanoi, to Ho Chi Minh City, made a lot of money, gotten a lot of status and privilege. They wanted to go home and treat the people in their town. And I get to go and visit them and make things with them. And we can't understand each other always. You know, we're working through a translator often. But, you know, that's, I'll take that. You know, if the alternative is to go to some beach in Vietnam and drink, you know, a drink with an umbrella in it, forget it. You've heard of the myth of Sisyphus? Sisyphus is rolling the rock up the hill. So in Greek mythology, he's been cursed to roll this rock up. What if he was happy? What if he really likes rolling rocks? You know, everybody assumes that he's like, oh, I've got to roll this rock, and it's a punishment. What if he really liked rolling rocks? So, and learning, you know, and I think that's the other part of it is, you know, we're only going to get 80 years, right? I will never speak Korean. I will never, you know, understand what it was like to be you growing up or what it's like to grow up in Korea. But the idea that I could go there and meet some doctors and talk about issues that they're having with medical equipment isn't getting to experience that life, but it's getting to experience a very narrow slice of it. And that's fascinating. I mean, that's a privilege. So yes, I really enjoy that. You know, I'm a parent now, and so there is a level where, you know, I can't go live in a cave and, you know, meditate and eat moss and whatever, drink rain. Like I've made commitments as a parent and as a husband. You know, I'm married, but where I work, you know, I'm already fabulously wealthy, sort of beyond imagination. When I was a Peace Corps volunteer making $7 a day in West Africa, I was upper class. In my town, I was the rich guy. I mean, it is sad when you think about how most of design is aimed towards making people feel unhappy, right? Because most consumerism is about saying, oh, you're happy, I understand you're happy, but if you had a body like a Greek god, you'd be happier. Or if you had this car, you'd be happier. Or this TV, or this whatever. And every time you get that thing, they're like, well, that's nice, but now there's a new one. And so you're climbing and climbing and climbing. I think to have the opportunity to use those same skills, which makes things desirable and useful, and, you know, do something more than sell junk. It's more satisfying.